Triton Vice is a really weird exotic. It was introduced in Season of the Deep, and is the first and only exotic made specifically for glaives. Its exotic perk, Halberdiers Reach, buffs your glaive melee when surrounded, and melee final blows overflow around the magazine, while projectile final blows create a detonating explosion. So what's weird about it? At launch, Triton Vice gave a 30% buff to glaive melee. At the same time, Symphoseps offered a 50% buff, which is not too extreme, but let's consider the following. Symphoseps buffs all type of melee for Titans as well as super damage. Triton Vice buffs only glaive melee. And let's not forget that a few months prior to Season of the Deep, Symphoseps actually gave a 200% buff to glaive melee, which was then changed to 50%. Today in Destiny, they both give a 100% buff to glaive melee, which is still really weird. I don't think that Triton Vice, which is limited to glaives, offers enough to warrant it not having a higher damage buff than Symphoseps, which has much more versatility in what you can run with it. Sure, reloading and overflowing a magazine on melee kills is really nice, but it's not revolutionary, and the explosion on projectile final blows just doesn't scale well in harder endgame content like Master Raids and Dungeons or Grandmaster Nightfalls, where even red bar enemies can take multiple hits to kill. I think Triton Vice needs a large rework to make it stand out, or at the very least make it so Triton Vice's buff matches Symphoseps' buff for unpowered and powered melee, which is a 165% buff. This way, they are both the premier exotic for the type of melee they specialise in. One thing that I really do like about Triton Vice though is how big it is. It's just comically large that you can't really hate it. I'm honestly pretty surprised that it doesn't obscure part of your screen when you're using it, which I think would be a pretty Bungie thing to do. Well, those are my thoughts on Triton Vice. Simply put, Bungie has some cooking to do here, and I'm sure they'll get to it eventually.